Hello, Jessica. We're live. How are
Hello.
you?
I'm doing really well. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. Yeah, thank you for being with me and with our audience. So, my name is Ching Juhl. I do this interview slash conversation with my guest every Wednesday, sometimes Sunday. Today, it's my great pleasure to have Jessica Sharples with us, and she is an actress. She's a writer. She's a producer. She's many wears many hats. So welcome, Jessica.
Thank you. So happy to be here. Thanks for having me on the channel.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for being with us. I'm gonna read a short biography of Jessica. Jessica Sharples is an award winning actress based out of Los Angeles with a BFA in theater from NYU, New York University's Tisha School of the Arts. She most recently wrote, produced, and starred in the short film Gen 28. Gen 28 has been selected to screen at 33 film festivals all over the world, winning 13 awards so far. Jessica has also made guest appearances on Law and Order, Special Victims Unit, and True Crime with Alpha Jones. Sorry, I don't know how to pronounce. You
You
can
got it.
see you can see her in several commercials for brands such as Buick, Evite.com, Maria Hotels, and Luminous. Thank you so much. And Gen 28, the film, I'll tell you the short storyline later on. Great. Thank you so much for being with us. And yeah, so I always like to remind my guests, like, where did we meet? So tell us, where did we meet?
Yeah, Ching and I met at the Awareness Film Festival in LA. It was Halloween weekend, and Ching had her feature documentary film in the festival, which actually won Best Documentary Feature. So, congratulations on that, Ching.
Thank you.
And yeah, we were at a costume Halloween party, and I started talking to Ching, and you even like whipped out your phone and your microphone. You were like, "Look, I can film from anywhere." We did like a mini interview at that Halloween party, and I was like, "Let's do a formal one. Like,
Yeah,
let's
yeah.
broadcast this out to people."
Mhm.
And then we just kept in touch, and here we are.
Yeah, thank you so much. And I saw your film, Gen 28, and it was really great. It's a short, about 14 minutes long, but it's very haunting. It's something you watch and you remember. Yeah. So we'll
Thank
talk
you.
about yeah, we'll talk about
Yeah,
your
I
film.
appreciate that.
Yeah. So yeah, tell us a little bit about were you born in California, or you just live there now?
Yeah,
So
I
what
live here
is
now.
yeah.
Yeah, I actually grew up on the East Coast. So I grew up like in the suburbs of Baltimore. And then for high school, I was in the suburbs of Philadelphia. And then I went to NYU, excuse me, NYU for college. And then I lived in Brooklyn for 4 years after that. Recently moved to LA about 3, 4 years ago, but I'm never leaving. I love California. So LA is my home.
So you really know New York very well. You've been in New York
Yes.
City for
Yeah.
so long. Yeah. So yeah. So what leads you to pursue or go to college, decide to, be in the film industry? Like, were you always when you were young, were you influenced by somebody, or your parents are in the arts? How did that happen?
Yeah, so I've actually wanted to be an actor since I was 5 years old. Like I would, walk around the house in my Dorothy dress with like a little basket with my like stuffed Toto singing "Somewhere Over the Rainbow" like all the time. And then obviously growing up on Disney and having all of those like Disney musicals come out with all the Disney princesses, I just like love singing and acting from a very young age and didn't get a lot of parts actually in high school, which is really interesting and funny. But then I was only one of two kids from my high school to get into Tisch for acting, and yeah, I knew that was what I wanted to do. But I was originally trying to go the musical theater track, so I'm a trained singer, I'm a trained pianist, and guitarist now. But it was, it just wasn't the right fit for me. After I went to college, I kind of figured out like, okay, I love musical theater, and that's what gave me the spark and like the initial passion to go after acting. But then once I saw how the business of it worked, like, when you first start out, you're non-union, so you're getting up at like 4 a.m. and going into Midtown and putting your name on a list, and then maybe you won't even get seen. That's very possible. So you're there at like 6 a.m. waiting around all day to maybe not get seen. And I was like, you know what, that's not something that I want to put my time into. So I was just focusing on straight acting, and I did a couple of TV shows in New York and some commercials. And then I found out this really interesting statistic. So in New York, there are 15 casting offices for film and TV. And in LA, there are 150. And so once I learned that, I was like, all right, going out to California. I know I don't want to do musical theater because, New York is a great place for musical theater. But I was like, I don't want to do that. I want to do acting for film. So came out to LA. And within a year of moving out here, I was raising money for my short film, Gen 28. And the rest is history.
Wow. Wow, that's amazing. Now, please educate me. BFA is Bachelor. F, it means what? Fine arts?
Fine arts. Bachelor of Fine Arts.
A is what?
Arts.
Oh, art. Fine arts. So what? This seems like a fine arts is such a big sort of a broader subject, right? Does fine arts including acting, including drawing, including many things?
How does it? You could get a BFA in, I'm not sure. Like you can get a BFA in like arts, like regular, like drawing arts. You could I got a BFA in acting, but people can get a BFA in directing, a BFA in screenwriting.
Okay.
So yeah, anything that falls under the arts, but I got a BFA in acting.
Oh, that's wonderful. That's wonderful. So, now you mentioned about Gen 28. So you play the character, the main character, and you wrote the script, right? You also produced it. So when was this happen? Is this your first sort of film?
This is my first film that I wrote and produced. So I've been in like several other indie films that I was cast in as an actor. But this one is the first one that I wrote, produced, and, took it off the ground just by myself, which was very interesting. And it was basically like going to film school. I was like, okay, I don't have to spend 4 years in film school. I can just make my own film and kind of learn all the ins and outs. It was very educating for sure.
Yeah. So I saw it again. I saw it in the big LA big theater. It was great. But I think I was late, so I saw half of it. Then I saw the entirety. Of course, the story is very haunting. Yeah, we're going to talk about it. And the camera work is really great, and the lighting was also very great. So I was wondering, like, since you're acting it, you have a director and you have a team of people shooting it for you, because you also shot with the cinema. What is the word? Cinemascope mode, right? Like 20, 23 by 6.
Yes, like very wide.
Yeah, like this, like this, not like this, So anyway, tell me a little bit about from first of all, from production point of view, because I shoot movie myself. I was very impressed by the color and the angle of shooting, and the storytelling technique. Tell me a little bit.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you for that. It was, I was so happy with the way it turned out. I had my director, Ian Landry, who was by my side the entire time. And I've never wanted to be a director, so it was really important to me to have that director there. And, making the shot list. And she really helped me to hire all the people. It was really guiding me, which was amazing. So, our DP was Hannah Getz. She's had a couple of films get into South by Southwest and other major film festivals. And once I saw one film that she did, I was like, oh, this is you. She just has such a beautiful way of shooting. And it was also really important to me to have a fully woman executive team. So obviously me as the writer and the lead actor is like, I'm a woman, my director is a woman, my DP is a woman, our producer and our casting director. So we're all women. I thought that was really important because I really wanted to show like the woman's perspective, which we'll talk about in a minute. But yeah, I was really happy with the way that the cinematography came out. And then the coloring is actually a funny story because so we raised funding for the film through a crowdfunding site called Indiegogo. And we raised about $9,600, but they take out a certain percentage for like the fees to use the site, which I did not realize. And so I was like going into the whole process being like, oh yeah, $9,600, like it's gonna be fine. And then I got maybe, you know, like $1,000 or $1,500 less than that. And I was freaking out to my producer. I'm like, I don't know, we're going to do this now. Like, we don't have money. Like, oh, I'll take care of it. And she's like, but we're going to have to use it all in production. Like, I don't know how you're going to pay for coloring and sound mixing, like any sort of post-production. I was like, okay, I'll figure it out. And my director did a first pass at it and it was good. But then I showed it to another person that I work with. And he was like, like the story's so good, but we just need like a little bit more on the coloring and a little bit more on the sound mixing. Because, you know, my director is she's an editor and she actually edited the film, but she's not a colorist or a sound mixer, right?
Yeah.
So he decided that he was going to gift his time to me for free, which was amazing. Mark Houlihan, great, like, you know, music producer and actually used to be in a band and now does more, you know, film stuff. And he colored and sound mixed the entire film for me. And I gave him some references as to what I wanted to look like from other films. Like, for example, Honey Boy. I don't know if you saw that. It's the Shia LaBeouf film. It was when it premiered at Sundance. So I gave him some reference films and he just ran with it. And the final, you know, outcome was the film, which is beautiful.
Wow. That's wonderful. That's wonderful. Should we see a clip of it?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. Okay. So we can share the screenshot. Oh, okay. Let's see. Clip 1.
Yeah. Okay. Let's do it in order.
Clip 1. Okay. I'm gonna. I'm gonna make it bigger. Let's see. So this is a film by Jessica Jen 28, clip 1. It's not playing. It's MP4. Oh, maybe MP4 is not playing. Sorry, dear.
That's okay. I mean, I've played MP4s on StreamYard. What you have to do is actually, you have to download it to your computer, and then you have to open it in a tab on your browser, and then you can play it.
Oh, okay. So why don't we, since we're here, why don't we just hold on 1 second? We can play the trailer. Shall we play trailer or not?
Okay. Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
So I want to say the trailer was actually done before the like final coloring and the sound mixing. So just, and it wasn't done with the original score. So just keep that in mind as you're watching it.
Oh, okay. Okay. So let's find the trailer. Okay. Make it bigger. Here we go.
My God. You live here? Your startup must be making big. Your place is gorgeous.
You're gorgeous.
Just so you know, I have only gone back to one guy's place after the first date, and we ended up dating for 2 years.
Oh, lucky me.
What about you, Mr. Onesie Mogul? What are you looking for?
I want someone who's just as passionate about their career as I am, you know? Walk into a room with her, turn heads.
It kind of hurts.
It's better?
Not really.
Hell told me a lot, but I was not expecting that. Why didn't you say anything?
I did. What was that?
What was what?
Upstairs. Hey, Jen, I said stop!
Wow. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, it's pretty
So,
intense.
yeah, very intense. This okay. So since whoops, hold on. So tell us, what's the how did you come up with the idea and storyline?
Yeah, so Gen 28 is about supposed to shine a light on the gray area of sexual assault. And so the story is actually based on my personal survivor story. Sorry if you hear something in the background. My cat is knocking things off of the counter. He's like, "Why are you paying attention to me?" So sorry about that.
It's okay.
If you hear that. But yeah, the story is about sexual assault, and so I wrote it based on my own story. It was originally supposed to be, an exploration for myself in the healing process, and then it turned into more of a like torch carrying crusade for change on the fronts of sexual assault. So yeah, when I was a senior in college. And again, it wasn't like the same. It's not the same exact story as Gen 28, but the very core of it's the same. I went to like a senior dance at NYU with this person that my friend had set me up with, and we actually got together before then and like had coffee, and it was like, yeah, really nice. We had a great time at the dance. I went home with him, consented to sex, and then it took away that consent. But he, did not respect my what I wanted, and he continued anyway. And then after that, which is pretty intense, as you saw in Gen 28, there's the scene where they're in onesies and they're on the street, and that actually happened to me after my sexual assault. And the guy was completely unaware of what had happened. He just didn't register that anything had gone wrong. He was like, "Oh, let's go get a slice of pizza down the block, and let's wear these onesies that I just got." And the onesies are from Adventure Time. And one of them is like, the young boy, and then the other one is the dog. And he gave me the dog onesie to wear, and which is very metaphorical, symbolic. And we put on these onesies, and we like went to get a slice of pizza. And the entire time I'm just thinking like, what the fuck just happened? Like, why am I here? Why, like, did he not hear me when I asked him to stop? Like, what happened? And then afterwards, the next day, I actually told my group of friends at the time what had happened. And only one person believed me. And these are like liberal college kids at NYU. Like, you would think that, we would all be a little bit more woke. It was before the Me Too movement. So, I think that's like important to understand. It was before this, kind of stuff was really prevalent in the news and like media outlets. But yeah, everybody else was like, "What, Jess, you were having a great time with him at the dance. Like, what do you mean? You were saying that you wanted to go home with him. Like, what?" And I'm like, "Yes, but consent is a conversation. It's an unending conversation. It's not, you can't just give consent once and then, that person should expect that it's always a yes. Like, no, it's a conversation between two people." And so, yeah, I actually reached out to, my perpetrator actually reached out to me that next day, and he was like, "Oh, I had a really great time with you. Like, I can't wait to see you again. Let me know the next time you're in New York. I'll take you out." And I just responded to him, and I was like, "No, I asked you to stop, and you didn't. So I'm never seeing you again." And unfortunately, it was only over text, and I feel like I didn't really get the same amount of closure because, it was that gray area of, hey, I did give consent, and I at one point was into it, and that's like what I wanted the like outcome to be. But then I didn't want that to be, and I still expressed that, and that wasn't respected. So I kind of went back and forth for a really long time on like, was it miscommunication or was it actually rape? And in the end, like, yes, it is, because I said no, and it still happened anyway. So yeah, that was the inspiration. And then going through my Indiegogo crowdfunding campaign, I found that like almost every single woman that I know came to me being like, "Oh my God, that's like a very similar thing happened to me. And, this is really in every woman's story." And so it quickly turned from, me trying to share my story to shining a light on this very prevalent issue within society that is still, is still very prevalent even after the Me Too movement.
So it's very haunting, and it's a very good conversation for us, in general, for young people, especially I think for a lot of young female and young boy, right, young men,
Oh yeah.
because I did not have a idea before I see your film that you know this this consent is a conversation. This sort of at the beginning, the character sort of like into it, like wanting to be intimate, and then once this really happened and she changed her mind, and then I think it's a huge education to the popular uh current generation or younger generation, because people may not even know what they're doing, like a girl especially, right?
Mm.
Right,
Yeah.
like girls think like this is wrong, but they probably think they did something wrong, and
Yep.
then they allow that to happen.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely a part of blame that survivors have, because again, like you're trying to rationalize what happened, and being sexually assaulted or raped is a very irrational thing. Like it's avoidable, it doesn't need to happen, and so it's really hard to understand why someone would do that to another person and why someone would violate your personal space and do that to you. Because I mean, I feel like as women, we're very nurturing and caring and empathetic people. And don't get me wrong, like there are men who get sexually assaulted and raped. Like that is a very real thing. But obviously the number is way less compared to the women who are getting sexually assaulted and raped by men. So there is a blame that's associated with it. There's also, like nonverbal cues that women give that, I feel like the reason why we had, Adam in my film, Gen 28, he's the perpetrator. The reason why we didn't try to make him out to be a villain or a really bad guy is because this conditioning that's in society is so deep rooted that someone who is like a good person could still rape someone and not even be aware that they did that. Like clearly my perpetrator reached out to me. He didn't think that, he did anything wrong. But he did. And, because I wasn't, or I'll just say maybe it's because I wasn't violent with him. I did say verbally, but I wasn't like, it wasn't what we hear about and see in the news all the time, which is like, man drags women behind dumpster and rapes her. Like, that's not how most rapes happen. Most rapes happen when the survivors know the perpetrators. And, it's not always a violent thing. It's just because I mean, you have different responses to trauma, freeze, flight, fight, or even flop is a recent one that they've discovered. And so some people just freeze and they don't do anything, and some people don't speak, or, they don't fight it off because it's just so traumatic that they don't know how to react. But as a man, if you actually, or a woman, if you're, sexually assaulting a man, if you care, if you pay attention to the other person's body language, it is very clear whether you have consent or not, even without verbal cues. You can tell if somebody is reciprocating, and if it's not a hell yes, it's a no. And you need to be in tune with the other person that you're having this encounter with. And if you are in tune, and if you actually care about that person and not just your personal wants, it is very clear whether that's consensual or not. And I feel like society in general has told men that their needs are more important than women's in general, in everything. We're in a patriarchal society. So men learn throughout their entire lives that they matter more than other people. And so when they're in sexual encounters, they are taking their own needs into consideration instead of listening to that other person. But when you're having an intimate experience, there is another person on the other side of that you need to be aware of. And so, that's why I wanted to shine a light on this specific instance of rape and sexual assault that's more common, because if a man sees Gen 28, I'm hoping that they'll think twice about their sexual encounters in the future, and hopefully look back at what has happened in the past and, reevaluate the way that they normally think, or the way that they're conditioned to think, because rape is unavoidable. Rape is avoidable. It is avoidable. It doesn't have to happen. Literally, it does not. So why are we as a society like okay with this still happening and not persecuting people when they commit this. And it's because we're in a patriarchal society that hasn't fully brought women's perspectives and points of view and experiences into equal alignment with that of men's.
Right, right. I wanted to thank our audience members making comment and join us. Here we have Sharkfin, we have Ben. Ben says, Star Shoppers is an inspirational human, well-deserved actress. Thank you
Thanks,
very much.
Ben. Appreciate you.
And then we have 4305 and BFAs are 85%. What? Conservatory. 15% general study. So thank you, Vivian. And then you have another friend of yours, I think the key. Yeah.
Jay Sharples, my sister.
Yeah. Your sister. Hi, sister. Yeah, she said, yes, absolutely. Great work, Jess. Yeah. And Ben says, consent is a conversation. And then 4305 said, it's an ongoing conversation. Very good. Well, sister said, well, profound work being done there. And Sharkfin is my clubhouse friend. Thank you so much for coming. And he made a long he's a composer, composers write long things, long movement. It's a difficult subject and legally, socially, and otherwise a slippery slope, such as the Aziz Ansari situation. Kudos to Jessica for taking it on, especially given the current polarized political climate. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Sharkfin. Yeah. So yeah, Lindsay is here. Beautiful, she said. Beautiful set. Yeah. So yeah, thank you guys so much. And you can ask some questions you want to. Now, so when you initially wrote the script, what was in your mind? Do you feel like you want people to know this thing, or do you feel like you want to educate younger people? What was in your initial thought?
Yeah, initially I wanted to shine a light on this issue because, most sexual assault cases, again, like they are, they're not what we see on the news and in television and in media. So I really wanted to show like the every woman, everyday sexual assault experience that people are going through all the time. I think I read a statistic that said like every 73 seconds, a woman is sexually assaulted, something crazy like that. So let's all let that sink in for a minute. And so I wanted to tell, this from the woman's perspective, because also, in the entertainment industry, something, again, crazy, like 95% of all directors are men. And there's like only 5% of women directors who are, achieving at that really high level. So, and same with writers and DPs and everybody on a crew, like most of them are men. So you can't expect a male writer to write something from, Jill's my other sister.
Hi, sister.
Hello, everybody.
You're lucky. I have so many sisters. I have one brother. Okay, yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, sisters. They're like, yeah, they got you forever. But yeah, so where was I on this train of thought?
Oh yeah, we were just talking about, education point of view.
Yeah. So yeah, I can't expect male writers to write female perspectives. Mm-hmm. So I really wanted to show a female story from a female perspective, and really bring light to that while shining a light on like this very specific issue that women deal with all the time. And then, as we were developing the script, me and Ian, my director, Ian and I were developing the script, and we were trying to figure out if we wanted to make Adam be like a really intense villain, or if we wanted to show him as like an everyday kind of man. And we decided to do an everyday kind of man because we wanted to bring men and women into the conversation. Like rape is not going to stop just because women are woke. Rape is going to stop because men are going to stop raping women. So you cannot keep them out of the conversation. You need to bring them in You need to obviously like educate them. And I think that, a big part is like, because we don't see women's perspectives in the entertainment and media world, men are very blind to it. And so all the content that we're getting as a society, not all of it, but a lot of the content that we're getting as a society is coming from the male perspective. And so you're not like, women don't really have a voice there. So I wanted to give, women a voice and show men like, hey, this is how your actions affect people. So that, again, like when they have another intimate experience, hopefully they can think back to Gen 28, or hopefully it'll be, even ingrained in their subconscious, and think about like, hey, am I listening to this person? Are they giving me a heck yes? Or is there some hesitation? And if there's hesitation, don't move forward with it. Like I personally believe that if you are the person, man or woman, and you are engaging, if you are the first person to make a move on someone else and you're engaging them in a sexual act, it is up to you to make sure that you have consent. That is like your responsibility. You want to engage in intimacy with this person, it's your responsibility to get consent from them, whether you're a man or a woman. So I really want that to be something that people take away. And I mean, men need to be part of this conversation. So educating, and, not even educating just young people, like educating everyone. Rape happens in marriages. Just because you're married to someone doesn't mean that you're getting that you have automatic consent from him. Like it is a widespread thing. And I think it really, there are deeper issues that, we need to look at as far as like men and women being seen as equals as well, that this is just a side effect of.
Yeah, yeah. And look, Rainbow had a really good comments, and thanks for sharing this with me. Rape, sexual assault can occur with a marriage.
I literally didn't even read that before I said that. So Rainbow, we're on the same page.
Yeah, I have some people who don't think this is true. Yeah. So it's very interesting. And because I'm talking with you, and it sort of brought old memory to me when I was like quite young, I would say. Yeah, maybe 21 in China is in those years, when my time, we had little education in sex, so I remember I was very infatuated with a guy who's much older than me, who is a famous poet. So when he came to Shanghai, I think it's like a rape, yeah, because he knew I really like him, but in terms of like it as a sort of a mentor, also someone I really admire, and I would do a lot of things for him, but he actually attempt to do that, so I didn't even know it was rape, so now thinking back, it was,
Yeah,
he did not succeed. He did not succeed though, but it was attempt, yeah, not once, many times,
Oh my gosh.
yeah. So that's bad. Yeah, that's bad. But the thing is, thinking back, right? A lot of people like me did not even realize that, right? It's like that's bad. That's illegal.
Yeah.
You should not.
Yeah, I'm really sorry that you had that experience, especially several times. I have another friend who's in her 50s, and when she saw Gen 28, she was like, said the same exact thing. She was like, wow, thinking back, like this one experience, like I did not want that to happen. And I like told him that I didn't, but then I just went along with it because it was, like easier to do that than not. But I never thought of it as rape, but like, you're totally right. It is. And so, like it just gave me chills just thinking about it. It's, it's been a huge thing in our society since the patriarchy took over,
So now, since can you give us timeline, like when did you start to write, and then when to the point of the film was finished and start to apply for festivals?
Yeah, so I wrote the first draft in October of 2018. And then and I actually workshopped it 3 different times at my writers and actors group, which, like drastically changed the story. And it was like really wonderful. So I did that within, a couple of months. And then by May of 2019, I had started my Indiegogo campaign. And then we did that for a month. And then literally we had 1 month of pre-production. And then by July 4th, 2019, we filmed the 2 days.
Oh,
And then it took a little bit to get the coloring and everything done because we did run out of money. So again, my director Ian was amazing, and she did the cut and she did some of the coloring and the sound editing. But then, I was like, we still need some more time with this. And then COVID hit, and I think it was I gave the project to Malik Houlihan in like a year later, maybe in July of 2020. And then he finished editing it in September. And then I started submitting to festivals in October. So it was 2 full years from like conception of idea to actually submitting it for festivals.
so now, since this is such a personal project, right? And you're the writer, and you have to also acting on it. How did you deal with like the entire process? Like, was it like a like a emotionally difficult for you to deal? Just do over and over. You have to write, you have to read, you have to act on it, and then you have to shoot. So tell us a little bit about your emotionally, like how you deal with that.
Yeah. It was definitely intense for sure. Like doing the first drafts, I think was the hardest, just because I was like, okay, I literally have to relive this now and try to tell it in a different way. And then, but throughout the process, I was more in producer mind, and I was like, okay, I just got to raise the money. I got to like send out marketing emails. I got to send out Instagram posts. And that was really what was taking me through the Indiegogo campaign and through pre-production. But then, once we actually shot it, it was very interesting because the assault scene itself, part of Gen 28 too, is that we actually stay in the room and see the assault happen in real time. And that part actually wasn't as triggering as I thought it was going to be. And, my co-star, Bobby Slasky, was amazing. And he was checking in with me like, hey, is this okay? Are you all right? And I'm like, yeah, I'm fine. And I think it was just because it was like different enough from what I experienced. Because in Gen 28, there is like a more violent filter than what I experienced. So I think it was different enough that I was able to be like, okay, I am Jen. I'm not myself. But when we were on the street, because for those of you who haven't seen the film, we start off in the apartment. We're getting back from like the perfect first date between Jen and Adam. The assault happens, and then he's like, let's put on some onesies and go grab a slice of pizza. And they go outside, and the second half part of the movie, say the last third, is them on the street, and they actually have a confrontation about what happened between them. And that was actually way more triggering for me than the assault scene itself. And I think that is because, as Jen is speaking her truth, obviously, like that is my personal truth as well from what happened to me. And I was never able to say that. I sent my perpetrator a text, and that was it. I never got to have a real conversation and actually, say that to his face. And so that was very, very emotionally, like it really got me in like a very solar plexus core kind of way. And then, but once I would say the last hard part of it was when Ian was showing me the first edit, and we watched the assault scene, and like that was very emotionally intense as well. And I even asked her, I was like, all right, so I think we just can like cut a little sooner. Like we don't have to like have all this emotion in Jen's face.
Yeah.
And she stopped me and she was like, Jess, why are we making this film if we're not showing it? Like the whole point is for us to show audiences how it actually happens and what it's really like. And if we take away off of that and like give the audience a break, and like not just allow them to like, again, go off in like blissful ignorance without showing what's happening, like how is that going to affect the audience? What kind of change is that going to make?
It was not long for me. It was just right. I felt how you feel, how the character felt, and it was a good timing, I think, because it needs this much time to sort of move on to the next scene. without talking, because
Mm.
in your thing, a lot of time it was like just like a silent. Of course, I think you have some a bottom, some kind of a sound music going on, but still, I think a silence sometimes is even more strong than talking head. Yeah,
Yeah, I totally agree. And I definitely had some drafts where, there was more talking afterwards, but in the end, we decided to go with that choice of her, not responding to him as he's talking to her
yeah,
because, like, she's in a sense, she's in shock. She has no idea.
yeah,
Like, it's the first time it's ever happened to her. She doesn't know
yeah,
what happened. So,
yeah,
you can see her like trying to be like just processing, like, is this rape? Is it not? Like,
yeah,
all this kind of stuff. So, yeah, I'm glad that came
yeah.
across.
Yeah, yeah. So you have two people ask you. Both Ben and Joe ask a similar question, I believe. Ben said, "What is it like working with this executive feature? Out of the what's it? Deliberate choice. Let me see. Let me put it down, and then I'll conclude."
Okay, great.
So ask, take a look of Ben's question, please. What was it to take working with the excluding female team? I love the deliberate choice. Do you plan to do that again and really build the women filmmaker community?
Yeah, great question, Ben. I loved working with the exclusively female executive team. I actually, in the beginning, wanted to have a fully female crew. And then it was just actually like really hard to find women who did certain jobs. Like, not saying that they're not out there, but the networks that my director and producer had didn't have a lot of like female grips and female sound mixers in it. Which is fine though, because again, the whole theme of Gen 20 is we want to bring men and women together. So I'm like, okay, wouldn't it be like, I don't know, almost sexist of me if I was like, no, only females on my set. So it actually worked out that we had that. But I really enjoyed having the female executive team because I felt like they, like from my producer to my DP to my director, they all understood what I was trying to say. I don't know if they all had the same experience that I did, but they definitely understand the women's perspective. So that was great. And I didn't have to really explain too much to them. They just got it.
Mhm.
And then do I plan on doing that again? Definitely. Yeah, I would love to continue to work with female directors and female producers. I just feel like there's just a sense of like security with female to female interaction that you don't always necessarily get on set with men being in different positions. And so, for example, like I really wanted to have a female DP on Gen 28 because I knew that she was going to be filming the assault scene. And I knew that I would be more comfortable with a female on the other side of that camera.
Mm.
So I definitely want to continue building the women filmmaker community because there's so many out there. We just need to like find each other and make it happen.
Yeah, very good. Well said. And Jill has a question for you. Do you plan to continue exploring this topic in future work? Would you ever focus on the difference in the dynamic of sexual experience between different cultures and communities?
Mm. It was interesting. The first thing that I wanted to do with Gen 28 was to, after it ran the festival circuit, to actually develop it into a series of shorts and empower other women filmmakers to tell their own story and to create their own series. Or at one point I was like, oh, I'll just create a short series talking about, like the differences in sexual assault in different cultures, communities, ages of women, periods of time. Like that definitely was something that I wanted to do. But now I'm still, working within the realm of sexual assault, but I'm actually working on my first feature film. So saying goodbye to the shorts, going for the feature. My feature film is about a driven junior modeling agent who is assigned to work a billionaire's Bahamian catalog shoot. And then what starts off as her dream job quickly becomes a fight to escape the clutches of an infamous sexual predator, of who I'm not going to name because don't want you people out there stealing my ideas. So I will keep that part confidential.
Yeah, confidential. Yeah, that's
Confidential.
right.
But yeah, so
Yeah.
this feature film is, it's not talking about the gray area of sexual assault. It's actually very black and white. This is a person similar to Epstein, who's a real person. But yeah, it's like very obvious that it was, he was running this like sex trafficking ring in the Bahamas and nobody knew about it. And it was, it's like this awful thing that's coming to light right now. And that's what I'm going to be focusing on. So yeah, it's again, going to be showing the story through the woman's perspective,
Mm.
and showing their experience and how, you know, all this, just their experience, which is super powerful.
Mm.
So yeah, that's the next thing that I'm going to be working on.
Wow, that's wonderful. So we have some new people come in, and thank you so much for joining us. And I would like to just chime in that if you like our program, please liking our video. Please subscribe Jewel Media YouTube channel. I've been doing this conversation with someone since lockdown, since March last year. And today, I think, Jessica, you're my 141 episode.
Oh my God, congratulations. That's a lot of people to talk to.
Yes, yes. Mostly is one-to-one, like I talk to you. Very few times I talk to group of people, like say people are young again or people are in the one movement together. So I'll talk to like 5 people or 6 people, but mostly one-to-one. And so I have learned so much about people in different genre, working different genre. Like you are entertainment and you're actress, filmmaker. And sometimes I talk to politicians. Sometimes I talk to people who recovery from COVID. Sometimes I talk to my family member. Yesterday, actually, I talked to my son. So if you look at my yesterday's episode, is I talked to my son, who is he's 21 years old. He just won a Pittsburgh Symphony Orchestra viola position.
Oh my God, congratulations.
Oh yeah, Pittsburgh's supposed to be like a top 10 orchestras in this country. So he just won last week. So anyway, so I was picking his brain out, like have him talk about the whole process, how he did it, and how his preparation was. So anyway, thank you guys for joining me. So let's continue. Some people's question. That's 4305. Is that your zip code?
That's my mom, actually.
Oh, your mom! Hi, mommy. Mommy, do you think the prevalence of online porn has affected how young males approach intimate relationships with women? Very, very
Yes.
good question. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, definitely. I mean, in the porn industry, like there's not a lot of loving material out there, as most of us know. Yeah, it is very domineering and degrading to women for sure. Because also, if you look at porn, it's all from the male perspective. Like you never see porn that's from the woman's perspective. It's always focusing on the woman herself. There was actually a recent case that came out for this man who's only 20 years old named Christopher Belter. And he actually raped 4 girls when he was 16 in like an 18-month period. And all 4 of them were like 16 to 15. And the reason I'm bringing this up is because the judge had found, or I guess the defendants brought information to the case that he actually had been looking at porn since he was 7. And that he had like a porn, yeah. And he's born in 2001. Okay, so this is like literally a child right now. And since he was 7, he had been looking at porn. But it makes sense, right? Like you give your child an iPad and you sit them at the dinner table and you put headphones on them and you put that iPad in front of them. Like they're going to be used to scouring the internet and seeing what they can find. And so, apparently, like, they were trying to defend him that he has like a sex addict kind of thing. And he was even like taking medication to lower his libido. Wow. And I'm like, well, would any of that have happened, if he wasn't exposed to that much porn? But I just want to also mention with that case, because this actually came out like right at the end of November, that even though he pled guilty to these charges of raping these 4 other teenagers at the time, he only was sentenced to 8 years of probation, even though the DA and everyone was trying to send him away to prison for 8 years. He was only sent away to 8 years of probation. So he can just go off and live his life and continue raping women. But it's kind of crazy because, if you're a serial rapist at the age of 16, like, why are you on the streets? And it's just really heartbreaking because now this kid is 20. He's probably going to go off to college, continue raping women when like these were reported and like the police he was in a court and was still like justice was still not served. And it just kind of speaks to how the justice system is still favoring the reputations of men over the women's lives that they've destroyed. I mean, this kid was, you know, he came from a very affluent family and influential family and, you know, like a white family as well. So it's just, yeah, it's really heartbreaking that, you know, even when these things are reported and they've gone to trial, judges are still not sending them away to prison and they're on the streets and they can continue acting. It's really, yeah, it's like literally just happened a few weeks ago. So it's awful that it's, you know, not changing, even though there's so much awareness around it now.
Yeah, yeah, definitely, definitely. That's I don't know. It's just I sometimes think I told you when I grew up, we have very little education. We cannot even audience don't laugh me, okay? Laugh at me, and they show us foreign films those days, right? There's whenever there's like a kissing scene or any intimate scene, the government just cut off the film. They actually
This is in
censor.
China, right?
Yeah, in China. Yeah, I grew up in China, by the way.
Yeah.
I grew up in big city, Shanghai. But still, so we have very little exposures about. I don't know if it's a good or bad, but in a way, compared to the porn on the internet, you exposed to young people in this country or country. I mean, exposed to anybody in the world, right? But still in China, they cannot access to YouTube. They cannot access to Google. They cannot access to anything like Instagram. They have TikTok in Chinese version though, not a real TikTok. But anyway, I'm just trying to say is the lack of education of me growing up, right? In certain sense, it is not a bad thing. Actually, you know, you do not let young people to expose to these things, you know, the sexual things or porn, you know. But I think a sex education is important, but porn is not good. So anyway, your mom bring a very good question.
Good job,
she says wash hands, wash hands. I think that probably I was talking about someone, you know, gets sick or something. But anyway, you have another question here. Oh yeah, she mainly, I assume is a she. I'm sorry. Mainly is a comment, not really a question. Yeah, such an important topic, wonderfully presented conversation. Yeah. Let's see who else. Yeah. Ben, your friends and family are behind you. you, 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 yeah, you have a strong. It's funny. Your whole family's here. We are sharples, strongy. That's cute. But anyway, yeah. So now, it's all. Yeah, we still have some time. So tell us a little bit about your experience of a film festival. Did you expecting you were accepted by 33 film festival? That's awesome. And then you won 13. So tell us how the film festival circuit how does that go? Like, do you have experience before, or is this your first time?
Yeah, no, this was my first time running the film festival circuit. So lots of learnings and definitely an investment. So, you know, for those of you out there, just remember when you're putting your budget together to get investors, you should set aside probably about $5,000 for festival submissions. It is an expensive process, but you're investing, you know, you're investing in yourself and it's totally worth it. But like, that's something I did not know going into it. So just so you guys know. But yeah, getting accepted into 33 festivals is amazing. I love that it's like a double 3 as well. Like that has specific meaning as far as, you know, like for my woo people out there, those like angel numbers. So I'm very happy about like that number that we settled on. Still waiting to hear from a few other ones before the end of the year is done. And yeah, it was a crazy process. I mean, you know, just thinking about like the amount of people who have seen Gen 28 now is really just like, I'm very grateful for that because that was the biggest thing. I just wanted people to see the film. You know, I wasn't even expecting to win any awards. I just wanted people to see it so that, you know, because I really do think that all this change is only going to happen on an individual level. Because again, it's just like the act of an individual. So the more individuals who see it, the better. And then, the awards started to come in, and I won Best Actress at Montreal Independent Film Festival, which was amazing. I won 3 Best Actress awards total. We won Best Director at Toronto Film Channel Awards. But then I think the most notable one so far has been winning Best Women Filmmaker film at the Big Apple Screenplay and Film Festival, which is in New York, actually. So
That's
that was
wonderful.
that was an amazing honor. And we also won Best Film at Feedback Female Film Awards as well. So those were just like huge honors. And we got nominated for 12 other ones as well. So it was a crazy ride. And it was interesting also doing that during COVID, right? Because, I started submitting to film festivals in this past January, 2021, and everything was mostly online as well. So, I feel like on one hand, I feel like I kind of missed out on getting to go to those film festivals and meet all those people. But I did end up going to 3 film festivals in person, which was the California Women's Film Festival. Some people on this call, like Rainbow, were actually there for the screening. And that was, wonderful, but it was just like a one-day thing. And then I went to the Topaz Women in Film Festival in Dallas, which was really awesome. I went there for a whole week. And, that's because, like, again, Texas is like pretty loose with their COVID regulations. And it was in October. So it had been, it's been a decent amount of time passed since COVID first happened. And then Awareness Film Festival. So, we had that one. And that one was really fun. Yeah. And that, the fact that with Awareness Film Festival, I got to see Gen 28 on the big screen meant a lot, because everything else was either virtually, or even at the other 2 I went to in person, it was just projected onto a screen. But seeing Gen 28 in its full glory, like getting the DCP, the digital cinema package, and like seeing the full color, and it was just like, I get goosebumps thinking about it. It was
I know. It's really amazing. I also, for my film, got to see on the big screen first time, because it was all like virtual, and it's the impact is so stronger, right? There's no comparison when you look at the computer or even television in my home. I have a television, I don't know, 55 inches. Still, it's different. So and the sound and the audio, right? The audio is so great. And watching audience, I brought 15 people come to see my show, and they're laughing, they're clapping, they're crying, because a lot of them, they are related to my subject. My film is about Andrew Yang. People supported Andrew Yang movement, so there's a lot of young men from California came to see the film. So it's nice. Nice to see your audience, right?
And feel your audience too. You can feel when, like, for example, like, after the sexual assault scene, like I could feel the like tenseness of like nobody even breathing or moving afterwards. And I'm like, okay, I did what I set out to accomplish. Like, people are affected by this. Which is
so
powerful.
I want to know that, so you're not gonna, for sure, it's very difficult to find a distribution, right? You're not. So now, how is the reaction about, other than festival? Have you thought about showing it, say, in school, college, stuff like that? Like, then bring this thing, and you can also make appearance, like a little talk, or what do you call? Do a little workshop or whatever.
That is definitely something that I've already been talking to a few people about, because I have a few friends who are teachers, and teachers can create their own curriculum. So, they're like, we'll just get it signed off, but it's definitely a thing. The only thing I do want to be careful of is, like, I don't want to be one of those people who's like touring schools, showing film and then talking about it, because my focus is really to create the art, excuse me, to create the art, to create films that like people can watch, to do that. So, I do want to have some sort of balance and not go the full activist route. Like I still want to be the filmmaker with the activist like underlying tones. But yeah, it's definitely a thing that I could beam in virtually into, you know, a high school classroom, like after they watched Gen 28. And kind of like answer questions about it, or honestly just have it as a conversation starter for the teacher to show at the beginning of the class, and then they can open up that conversation with their students and have that. So yeah, I talked to somebody who has a couple connections to some schools like in the suburbs of Chicago. And I have a friend here in LA who's also a school teacher who's like, I would love to show this to my high schooler. So that's definitely one avenue that I can't do that until we're done with the festival circuit. So by the end of this year, I'll probably, you know, have the power to do that. But the other thing that I'm going to do, because, you know, some people for their short films get distribution through Amazon. And so people who have an Amazon account can watch it. And that's really the only thing I've seen people do with their short films. But for me, I just want to release it for free. I just want to put it on the internet and just have it be free. And I want people to be sharing it with each other. Because again, like, I don't care about making money off of it at this point. Like if that ever ended up happening, like great, I accept that. But and I'll embrace it. But my goal is to just have people see it so they can be affected by it and change their own future actions. So I just want to release it on YouTube or Vimeo and then have people share it around.
Now I just download those MP4 file. So
awesome.
What's the next? Can I show? Like, do you know?
Yeah.
Do I click on video file?
So how I literally had to do this for an event I was working on Friday. If you drag, basically open up a new tab on your Google Chrome and then drag the video file from your desktop into that tab, and then you can share that tab.
Oh, I see. Let me see.
I had to look it up.
Yeah. Let me see. Okay. Hold on 1 second.
That's okay.
Oh, okay. So I drag that thing and into the what?
Into the browser tab. So you want to make another tab on your browser,
Really?
and then just drag the file into that new tab, and then you can share that tab with audio.
Let me try. Oh, okay. Browser. Oh, okay. Download. Let me try. Okay. Let me try to see if that works. Sorry about that. No,
That's
it's
okay.
not. Yeah.
Yeah, like wherever you're on with StreamYard, like the same browser that you're looking at StreamYard, just click the plus, make a new tab, and you can just drag it straight from your desktop into that new tab and play it from
okay. There. Okay. Okay. And then I share, right? I share, right? I share the.
Just share that tab and make sure the audio is the audio box is clicked. And
Oh, I see that. Okay.
Your startup must be making bank.
Hold on. From beginning. It's just like.
And this is the for people coming in. This is the very beginning of the film.
Yeah. Okay.
You live here?
Huh?
Your startup must be making bank.
Sold out half our inventory last month.
Your place is gorgeous.
You're gorgeous.
Is that your line, smooth talker?
Depends. Work?
Okay. Cool.
Yeah, so that's just showing, kind of setting it up to show that like they had this really wonderful date and they are in a good place and they're both, like into each other and, ready to move forward. So
yeah. Okay. All right. Second scene. Oh, do you see it? No, you don't see it.
You need to share the new browser tab.
Yeah. Okay, hold on 1 second.
No worries.
This is my first time to do this. Thank you so much for teaching me. Okay,
absolutely.
All right, so Jan 28, the clip number 2. Let's put down here. Here we go.
So tell me, how the hell are you still single?
I guess I was just over being let down. Go on a couple dates with a guy. We'd hook up, A few months later, I'd realized didn't have any interest in me as a person. So I said, fuck that. I got off the dating scene, focused on my music, and here I am.
They're missing out.
What about you, Mr. Onesie Mogul? What are you looking for?
Someone to be the other half of my problem.
Trouble.
Power couple. I want someone who's just as passionate about their career as I am, you know? Walk into a room with her, turn heads.
Okay, very charming.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, very charming. So, is it too private a question to ask? And like, is this someone's apartment? It looks so neat.
Yeah, that actually, any filmmaker out there, this is what we found on Peer Space. So if you
Oh,
guys know that website, yeah, you can rent out different spaces for film locations or
oh,
events. Yeah, so just peerspace.com. And that was actually a real person's loft apartment in downtown LA. And very, very spick and span bachelor pad. But when we walked in there, we were like, oh yeah, this is definitely where Adam would live. Like all the artwork on the wall was already there.
yeah.
It was like the couch was there, everything was there. We're like, yeah, this is definitely a bachelor's apartment. But we also wanted it to be like a nice big loft because, Adam is supposed to be the CEO of like a, startup company.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was a real person's apartment that we rented out for a day or a night. I'll say the night shoot went from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. So
Wow, yeah, that's really nice. And it's like so neat. And okay, so we're going to the third clip. Is that okay?
yeah, and this is right after the assault scene.
Oh, okay, yeah.
We can walk there if you want. Oh, I've been dying to break out these Adventure Time onesies. You've heard of Adventure Time, right? Like the cartoon? I call Finn. You can be the dog.
Mm. Wow.
Intense.
Yeah. Yeah, that's great. That's really great. Great
Thank you.
acting. So yeah,
Thanks.
let me see. I had a question for you, but then now I don't remember what I was gonna say.
I'm sure it'll come back.
Yeah. And you're a very good singer.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate
Yeah.
that. Yeah. For those of you who haven't seen Gen 28 before the second clip that you just saw, because Jen is a singer-songwriter, so she plays Adam an unfinished song of hers, and they like connect over that sweet moment. So I actually wrote that song and played the piano while accompanying myself while singing. But yeah, I've been I was taking singing lessons since I was like in the 7th grade, and then again.
Wow.
Tried to do musical theater and then was just like no, but still bringing singing into the film work that
That's
I do.
wonderful.
So yeah, I appreciate that.
Wonderful. Okay, so this is the fourth clip, the last clip after the incident.
Yeah, I'm fine.
You sure? All right, seriously. I mean, come on. What's going on?
It's nothing.
Do you not feel well, or?
I don't know.
All right. Let's get you something to eat. That should help.
I'm not hungry.
Why didn't you say anything?
I did. Hey, get off me!
Mm, wow. Oh yeah, I was gonna ask you what camera did you guys shoot with?
Mm.
That's very good resolution.
Yeah, we shot on a Alexa Red.
Oh,
Yeah.
excuse me. That's awesome. That's
Just a little
awesome.
Alexa Red, yeah. It
Yeah, yeah.
also another thing for filmmakers to know. If you don't want to rent equipment from a production house, you can rent it from sharegrid.com. So that was actually someone's like personal Alexa Red that we were able to pick it up from that individual owner, and it was much cheaper than like renting one from a production house. So that's called
Okay.
sharegrid.com.
Share grid. Say
Yeah,
it again.
ShareGrid.com. And you
Okay.
can get all different kinds of film equipment from individuals who own it for, a fraction of the price that you would get at a production house.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome.
Mhm.
Great.
Yeah.
So we had a really lot to cover. Thank you so much. And let's see if we have any questions. And we're going to move on to our last segment. It's called Rapid Fire. Okay. So Shakman said, how can we see Gen 28?
Yes. It is currently not out for public to see, but Sharkfin, if you go onto Instagram and you go to @Gen28Film and you send me a message and you say, hey, I saw Ching's interview with you, I'd love to see the film, I would be more than happy to send you a private link, and that goes for anybody else who's on the stream today, so you can get private access to Gen 28. Just hit me up on Instagram and I'll send that off to you.
Thank you. That's wonderful. Wonderful question. Lindsay has a question for you. Oh, the comment. So powerful. Cannot wait to see the whole film. And so let's. Did I miss anyone? Oh, if I miss you guys, I apologize. But anyway, yeah, we're gonna do our last game. And once again, please, if you have not subscribed to Jewel Media, please do, and check Jen's Instagram. Her film Instagram is Gen28 Film. All right. So are you ready?
Yes.
Okay.
As ready as I'll ever be.
Okay. All right. Tell me your top 3 movies, all-time movie you like.
Oh my gosh. She's the Man with Amanda Bynes is the first one that comes to mind. La La Land. I really enjoy La La Land. And I'm going to go for Pocahontas.
Nice. So what's your favorite color?
Red. No, pink.
Pink. Okay, great. What is your favorite genre food?
Italian.
Italian.
I'm Italian, so I'm biased.
Yeah. So when I take you out for a happy hour, what would you order?
Spicy jalapeno margarita. Don't have to think about that one.
That's awesome. That's all spicy. Jalapeno margarita. I'm gonna try that. Wow,
It's
that's
really
awesome.
good.
Yeah. So now you play the piano. Do you play another instrument?
Oh, let me go. The guitar.
Yay! That's wonderful. So you play the guitar to sing, or you do play as a classical guitarist?
Oof. No, that'd be amazing if I could classically play guitar. No, it's more just chords, basic chords to accompany my singing.
Yeah, that's great. So now do you speak another language?
No.
I
wish I did. I took Spanish for 8 years and I can't speak anything.
Yeah. If you had if there's no COVID, which country would you like to visit? Which country next place to visit as fun, okay? Not as work.
Yeah, I definitely want to go to like the southern part of Italy. Would be great. Get that good Italian food.
Yeah, that's great. Which book you read lately that you really like?
Mm. I have been reading, still am reading, The End of Mental Illness by Dr. Amen, Amen, maybe Amen. I'm not sure how to pronounce that. But it just talks about like different ways that we can change things in our everyday life to end mental illness versus, needing to rely on like medication or anything else like that. So that's what I've been reading. It talks about mental illness as, actually something that's wrong, not wrong, but just like something that's off in the brain as far as like the brain connections, which can happen from like brain trauma, being in a car accident, playing football, and how like that can lead to mental illness and ways to restore those connections in your brain. So that's what I'm reading currently.
Interesting. Are you on Clubhouse?
I have been to a couple of things on Clubhouse, but yeah, I don't know. It's not a place I frequently go to.
Me and Shark Fin met on Clubhouse.
Oh,
What
nice.
is your favorite social media platform?
Can I say none?
Yeah, that's great. That's why you're not crazy.
Yes, exactly. No, I actually, after watching The Social Dilemma, I turned off all notifications, even on email. And so, like, I only go on social media when it's my idea to. And that's why, like, Ching, when you hit me up on Instagram, why I didn't respond, because I'm just, like, never on it ever. And I'm like, once a month, I'll check Instagram and be like, okay, what did I miss? So I should probably do that more often for, like, business stuff. But
Yeah.
I don't
No,
do
no.
social media.
That's great, but the thing is, if you want to popularize your film, do you think social media could help? Like, say, I have a account, like a Facebook account for my film. I now have a Instagram for my film. So, how do you deal with those kind of a sort of a, what do you call, marketing, or using social media to spread
Yeah.
your words?
I mean, that really is the only time that I'm ever on social media is for Gen 28. So, we don't have a Facebook page, but we have a Facebook group for Gen 28. We also obviously have Gen 28's Instagram. And you'll see that even on my like personal Facebook and Instagram, like the only posts I have are about Gen 28, whether it's like we got to a festival or won an award. So that's how I've been keeping people up to date with what we've been doing. But then also, if you guys want to go to my website, which is jessicasharples.com, you can join my mailing list. And then you'll get email updates, like today or yesterday, I sent out an email about our conversation. So I find that trying to get people on a mailing list is more effective sometimes because everyone checks their email, but not everyone checks their social media. But yeah, I cover like major updates on Facebook, Instagram, and email. But if you respond on Instagram saying congratulations, like I just might not see that response, So don't take it personally if I'm not responding to you on social media.
No, I really respect people to not doing too much social media, because you only have this much time, right? And a day. And so I'm guilty of being on Clubhouse a lot. So anyway, so what else? What turns you on? I mean, meaning like not sexually, like when you meet someone, like you want to meet them again, like what kind of thing you like people about?
Passionate people who have a passion that they're passionate about and they are like actively going after that and are like pursuing what it is that they are passionate about. So if you don't have a passion and you're just a bum on social media all the time, I probably don't want to meet you again. But if you have a passion that you're working towards and that sparks joy within you and like gives you a reason like for life, then let's have a conversation about that.
Yeah. What turns you on? What turns you off? Sorry.
Man, people who are self-obsessed. Like if I'm in a conversation with you and you are only talking about yourself and you don't ask me any questions about myself, like that's probably the last conversation I'll have with you. So I definitely want someone like, people who even I'm just friends with to be interested in other people they're talking to instead of just talking about themselves all the time.
Very good. What do you see yourself in 5 years?
actor, writer for feature films, television shows if I want. But yeah, definitely trying to keep that multi-hyphenate going on and pursuing writing, but specifically like writing stories that I would be the lead in is like what my what my whole thing is. Just because like, you know, I've auditioned for so much over the years and like so much like shit films over the years that are really bad. So I want to create art that is actually good and write lead roles for myself in important pieces that matter that specifically focus on women's voices and women's stories.
Mm. And between writing and acting, would you want to do acting more, or you want to do the same? Like, do you constantly auditioning for roles?
Yeah. Yeah, I have two agents. I have a theatrical agent and a commercial agent. And I'm, constantly doing self-tapes. So yeah, I'm very, very open to being an actor in other people's stuff for sure. I just find that like most people who become like successful are really creating their own content and creating their own work. So yes, of course, like, I mean, acting has been a passion of mine since I was very little, but I've also been writing since I was very little as well. But yeah, I would say if I had to split it, it might be like, 60% acting, 40% writing at this point.
That's wonderful. So two things you take away from Awareness Film Festival.
Two things. So one thing is that there are a lot of filmmakers out there making content about things that matter, which was really nice because for those of you who are not familiar with Awareness Film Festival is all about, showcasing films, short and feature films that deal with or comment on social issues. So it was really amazing to see that there are so many films out there that are actually like focusing on real world issues and bringing light to them. And then the second thing is just that, if you go to a party and there are only 15 people there, you can still meet a lot of really cool people. So thinking about the Halloween party, like not a lot of filmmakers came out to that. And yet, I met you, I met Ruby, I met another woman who's a producer. And so it's just learned that it's about like the quality of the conversations that you're having with people and the connections you're making that way through like a very authentic place versus, the quantity of people that you're meeting.
Exactly. I was debating if I should go, to Awareness, because for me it's kind of far away, right? I live in New York City.
Across the country.
Across country. And so some people, maybe one or two people, they say, if you can meet one person, you make one connection, it's worth it. So I couldn't listen to them, I went, I came and I met more than one person. I met you. But the thing is, we met in the Halloween party, right? Yep. It also was a very intimate party because there's not many people showed up.
Yeah, exactly.
But they did it really nice, They got a big place, food, and this and that, and music, and so it was very nice to meet you. And you were like wearing something fun. Like, what were you? Like you were some kind of bunny, What were you?
No, I wasn't funny. I had pigtails, so I guess that's how it could come off. I was that's hilarious. I was I was a star constellation. So yeah, I had I know, it's like it was hard. People didn't get it at first. Like I had to explain it to them. I had the pigtails. Yeah, the pigtails were just supposed to be a key part of it. But yeah, I had stars on me where like Orion's constellation has stars on him. And it ties into because I don't know if you've heard of Burning Man, but my like playa Burning Man name is Star, which is why somebody mentioned Star Sharples. So it's like, I'm embodying like, myself, but I'm also a star constellation. So it had like a fun double meaning to it.
And then you had a killer boots, right? Did you wear boots?
No, I had bell bottoms on.
Huh?
I had bell bottoms on.
What's bell bottom?
They like
Oh!
they're pants that like come out like that.
Karen Carpenter, 1960.
Exactly.
Okay. All right, that's funny. Well, so anyway, yeah, one last question. Very easy one. Coffee or tea?
Now I'm on the tea train. I'm really on the
Yeah.
tea train. I used to be a
Right.
coffee person,
Right.
and now I'm like fully on the tea train. So
Oh, that's great. That's great. Are you, may I ask, that's kind of personal. Are you a vegetarian?
yes, I am.
Because you look so clean, you know, your
Oh, thank
face.
you.
Yeah. It's like,
Yeah,
she
I've
looks
been
like a
vegetarian.
vegetarian.
If you want to look like me, become a vegetarian, people. That's how it happens. Yeah, no, I've been a vegetarian since 2014. So very long
Wow.
time.
Well, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
That's
Yes,
wonderful.
saved a lot of animal lives in the process and a
That's
lot of
great.
carbon and methane. So
Yep.
climate change is very much related to eating meat. So if you
Yeah,
want to change the
yeah.
world, become vegetarian.
That's right. So you're conscious in climate. That's wonderful. Your mom
Yeah.
said cello, so I bet you play the cello.
I did. I used to play the cello, yeah, in like high school. Thanks, Mom. I appreciate it. I was like, don't
Yeah,
forget about these instruments, even though I
yeah,
haven't played
yeah,
the cello since
yeah,
like
yeah,
2009. But yes,
yeah.
I used to know how to play it.
Great, great. So thank you so much, Jim, for Jesse for joining me, and thank your friends, thank our friends to be with us, Shark Fin, and I'll see you in Clubhouse, and Mom, I see you again, Rainbow, so me Lindsay, and thank you so much, and you can tell people if they missed it, they can just watch this my channel, right? This is gonna live after about 15-20 minutes. It's gonna be
Awesome.
yeah,
Yeah, I'll
and
definitely tell everyone.
I can show you if you want a file. Yeah, I can actually download file. I can send it to you. Yeah,
That would be
yeah,
amazing.
yeah,
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 that'd be great.
yeah, yeah. Okay, thank you
Thank
so
you,
much.
Ching. Thank you,
Yeah.
everybody, for watching. I appreciate all of you. Ching, this was wonderful. I'm so glad we were able to connect and hopefully continue connecting.
Yes, definitely, definitely. Yeah, when you come to New York, and definitely look me up. Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Oh yeah, you're a New Yorker anyway.
Yeah, I come back usually at least like once a year. So yeah, I'll
Oh,
definitely be there
okay.
again.
Yeah, that's wonderful. So yeah, and stay healthy and stay happy and
Yes.
mentally healthy.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, okay. So goodbye to our friends watching us, and thank you so much, Jesse. And we're gonna end this talk now, and please keep watching and see you again.
Sounds great.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye everybody.